Keely Sears, and I competed on the 2015 Texas Tech wool judging team. Today I'm going to talk to you about wool judging and wool in general. To begin, a high school FFA wool judging contest is comprised of 6 placing classes. Each class contains 4 fleeces where they're based off weight, and they place the heaviest one first and the lightest one last. It's a really simple concept, but some people seem to struggle with it. Then they also do a 15 fleece rail where they pull locks from the fleece and judge it based on fiber diameter, yield, and staple length. So depending on the breed of sheep that the fleece was removed from, it depends on how long the staple should be, and then that can also determine the fiber diameter. So ideally, in a fleece, we want a really high yield is obviously good, and yield is based off of dirt and grease consumption. So we want as little dirt and as little grease as possible in a fleece. So the whiter and brighter it is, the better. Then moving on to staple length, we want a long staple that doesn't break or have any type of tenderness to it. We want it to pull as long as we can from base to tip, and then that way it'll go through the carding and combing process the easiest and can be used for things like carpets and clothes, when the shorter stapled stuff has to be used for things like felts for pool tables and other stuff like that. And the final thing that we look at is micron diameter, or fiber diameter as I referred to it earlier. So when we look at the fleece in general, we can kind of get an idea of what our fiber diameter is going to be based on the crimp, which is like the waviness to each individual lock in the fleece as a whole. So the smaller the micron, the better, because the softer it is. So the smaller microns can be used for clothing, which is obviously a higher price. It will sell for a higher price because it's being used for like human contact. Whereas coarser fibered things that have bigger waves between them, from wave to wave is further apart, it's so much coarser in feel and can lead to itchiness. So it's never used for clothing, and that's the kind of stuff that you find on your pool tables, stuff like that. So I'm just going to go over basically what a fleece entails and how you would go about judging it. So when I walk up to the fleece, the first thing I would do is just look at the overall appearance and get in my mind like, oh, this has really small crimp and it looks like it's about average yield because it's kind of yellow to it and it's got a little bit of dirt and grass and such from just my immediate first glance. And then I'm going to lift it up to help me decide how heavy it is if it's in a placing class. And once again, like I said, I would want to put the heaviest first and the lightest last. So I would lift it and decide how heavy it was in relation to the other 4. And then I would come back to my fleece and I would pull a few locks. So I would pull locks from all over the fleece so that I get all the different sections that come from the sheep. So like the breech, or the area that's located on the stomach of the sheep, is always coarser fibered. So I want to be sure and pull locks that came from the whole sheep so that I can see the variance in crimp size. So I would pull a couple locks from all over. Usually I'd pull about 6. And then first of all, I would want to look at the staple length. So this is kind of average stapled. It's definitely not long, but it's also not too short. So it would be fine for staple length. And then another thing that I can factor into my yield is I can look at the dirt penetration starting from the outside portion to where it would have been sheared from the body, and I can see how far into the animal, or how far from the animal to the environment the dirt penetrated. So the finer fibered things hold dirt a lot better and will normally be lower yielding. So I would look at the fiber diameter and decide how small it was, and then mark my card and hope that I placed it correctly. Thank you for listening to this video. Have a good day.